President Biden has welcomed a breakthrough in getting his multi-billion-dollar package in healthcare, green energy and climate through Congress after winning crucial support from a Democratic senator. Joe Manchin's early opposition to the bill had previously put paid to Biden's ambitious plans. The Virginia senator has been a major thorn in the side of the president. His refusal to back the president's signature energy and healthcare bill destined it to fail in Congress. But now the senator says he supports the plan to pour billions of dollars into clean energy and state-funded healthcare. Mr. Biden says if passed, the legislation will be historic. For more on these stories, we can cross live to Washington and join Arise U.S. correspondent Eric Hum. Eric, thanks for joining us on Newsday. Now, tell us more on the prisoner swap, which could see basketball star Brittney Griner released.
Yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth on this move for quite some time now. In fact, we know that Brittney Griner has been detained since February of this year. We also know that key interests have been involved in raising the profile of the situation of the WNBA star. We know that there have been high-profile NBA basketball players from LeBron James to others who have spoken out and have called for the release of Brittney Griner. And with the Secretary of State now announcing that they have proposed a prisoner swap that would actually release not only Brittney Griner, but Paul Whelan. Paul Whelan is a former U.S. Marine who has been convicted of spying in Russia and is now serving a 16-year sentence. He was sentenced back in 2020. And so what we're seeing now is that Russia had initially called for the release of Victor Blau, who is also known as the Merchant of Death. He is serving a 25-year sentence in the United States. And now we know from the Secretary of State himself that they have actually acquiesced to this demand by Russia, but also are calling for the release of these two high-profile individuals, two Americans who they will call for the release of these individuals from Russia and return to the United States. Already, we know there's been one initial prisoner swap that took place earlier this year that involved Trevor Reed, who was released from a Russian prison and is now back in the United States.
Well, meanwhile, Joe Manchin, who's been long thorn in President Biden's, side, stuns Washington to announce he is now backing the president's signature bill. What has changed?
Well, this is, I think, another case of Joe Manchin being Joe Manchin. In fact, it was just a few weeks ago that he announced that he could not support this agreement, only to now inexplicably say that he has come to terms to support this new climate change proposal. Now, we know that even after he announced that he could not support it, that the negotiations were still ongoing between the West Virginia Democrat as well as the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer. And now we know that there is an agreement. And this certainly, of course, is welcome news, not only to the president of the United States, but also to Democrats who are looking at the midterm elections. And this now allows them to be able to go to voters with the support of a major signature proposal by the Biden administration. And this is a massive deal that will not only provide nearly $400 billion in immediate relief on climate change, but also we are told, based on the numbers, this will also reduce the U.S. deficit by $200 billion this year as well. So this looks as though like it's a win-win on a number of levels. Of course, there's still a lot in terms that needs to be done, because we know that while Joe Manchin has come on board, there's still Arizona Democrat Kyrsten Sinema, who it's unclear at this point if she will support this. One of the biggest sticking points that could prove difficult for her is we know that she has said that she will not support any carried interest on any legislation. Well, this bill allows for a cap of $14 billion of carried interest. And so the question now remains, is that something that she can actually get behind? Only time will tell.
Yeah. And if this bill becomes legislation, what does that mean for Joe Biden's hopes for the midterm elections?
Well, I think right now, as far as Joe Biden is concerned, his approval ratings right now are underwater in the country. Many Democrats do not approve of him. In fact, we know that right now many do not want to see him run for re-election. But he's got a couple of years to actually right that ship. In the meantime, what this does for Democrats is it gives them another massive talking point if, in fact, they can actually get this legislation done. And again, it would go a long way, not only in securing at least moving the needle on climate change, which right now is a massive issue given the record temperatures we're seeing throughout the country, but also it goes a very long way in also helping reduce the deficit as well.
Thank you so much, Eric, for joining us on News State.